What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about Polestar. So ever since their earnings did come out, it has been holding its gains relatively well. It's starting to pull back over the last couple of days, but that was due to the broader market. Today it did go up 4.09%. After hours it is going down slightly. But I want to give you a quick overview of what's been really influencing Polestar and kind of what to expect next. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So like I said, kind of did fairly well today. As far as transcripts though, it did come out. So we were able to kind of analyze at least what was said. They haven't actually given the date of when their earnings is actually going to be submitted, because they did say that it was going to be pushed to next week, which is now this week. But as of right now, with today being Wednesday, nothing came out, and you do see roughly about 6 analysts that did participate in the earnings. And surprisingly enough, you actually don't see that many new ratings coming down the pipeline. So as you can kind of see right here, so I do have Polestar. So looking at analyst ratings, so as of late, it was only looks like 2 analysts that did give ratings after their earnings. 𝗪𝗲𝗪𝗧𝗛, I do believe, was right before the actual earnings. So 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗡𝗖𝗧 did give a $9 price target, but you have Dan Levy, who has a 47% success rating with Barclays, gave a $2 rating, and then Deutsche Emmanuel, who has a 37% success rating, gave a $3 price target. So as a consensus, they do feel that it should be around $3.78, and that does represent a 112.36% upside. And of course, as of right now, based on the latest Morningstar report, it does show the fair market value for Polestar being $2.63. So I'm going to talk on options, technicals, and everything else. So quickly going back to shorts and what they did today. So shorts did actually right over here. So they did increase a small amount, 16,000 shares or 16.5 thousand. 10.22% of the free float is being shorted. 25.2 million shares overall are being shorted. And cost of borrow average has gone up quite considerably. This did all occur post earnings, but it went up 130.95%. Utilization is 95.58 and short score is 90.99. So technically, if you take out Polestar from everything and from the mix, so if you kind of hid the logo, and I honestly would say that this does have a very good likelihood of a squeeze. And that is based on a lot of the fundamentals. So high utilization, a lot of shares being shorted, high cost to borrow. Typically, the only thing that you are missing for a squeeze to occur is a good catalyst. And potentially, if their earnings do come out, maybe they are set for good guidance, good future guidance, because they didn't really give 2024 targets. Because based on the SEC document that was submitted, an analyst pointed out saying that it is estimated, based on that at least, to be 100,000. I think that's kind of far-fetched. Maybe there was some just misinterpretation of that. But coming from Polestar, it'd be really good to see exactly what the metrics are saying. As far as options, right now, dollar value has still been not necessarily there, not really picking up. So $20,000 in calls being purchased today versus 3,000 in puts. Looking on the consensus though, 49% of all the options being done today were optimistic and bullish. Of the call options that are being purchased, there's a consensus for it to be above $2, and looking at puts, consensus for it to be sub $1.50. But unfortunately, with Polestar only having weekly options, it's not all that popular. And overall, just the volume today was kind of minimal. So just going back over to right over here. So you do see essentially the volume today was 1.8 million. So relatively low for that. But while I'm actually on Seeking Alpha, there's one thing I just wanted to bring up that is new information as of yesterday, I do believe. So EV stats for February. So this is the latest info that has come out. So global car sales are up 63% year over year. China is up 95% year over year. Europe is up 26%. So that is a nice change, because over the last 2 months, 2 reports, it's actually been negative. So it was, I think, -2 -2% and then 28% negative last month. US is up 19%. So that is kind of surprisingly low. It would be good to have more, I guess, regions included in this, more specifically Saudi Arabia, because I feel like a lot of EVs are going to be transitioning over there. But still, once again, that is very, very good and nice to see Europe kind of getting out of that rut essentially. So all in all, pretty good stuff. As far as some support and resistance points, I'll talk on technicals in a second over and above this, but with it closing at $1.78, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So $1.50 is going to be that next strong support, and then $1.82 is going to be that next strong resistance. And in fact, it did bounce off that and kind of closed relatively close. So it is fair to assume that this value rally that did occur today is going to extend and push into tomorrow, and hopefully even further from that as well, because Powell did really incentivize buying and kind of alluded to rates, rate cuts being sooner rather than later. And plus he talked on random things as well during his speech today. And when it comes down to data points, I just wanted to bring this up. So ADP non-farm employment did come out as well, 140 versus 149. So it was a little bit lower, not necessarily the best, but I feel like the market didn't really give two craps because it was still in kind of FOMO mode, wanted to get back to the rally essentially. And you do see the fear and greed index still relatively high, has gone down over the last couple of days, or I guess over the 1 day, but it is at 74. So you are going to see a nice natural progression higher from here. But just moving on from here though, just to go over some of the technicals. So today you do see that it did attempt at least to transition from the higher to the lower percentile, but the support levels did hold. So you'll want to watch for that to hold in the next couple days. But again, I already kind of touched on that. So in general, it should be free and clear to run up to at least the 50-day moving average, which right now is around $1.93. And looking at the stochastic RSI, so because of the recent run with the earnings is kind of skewing that somewhat, but you do see a bearish deviation. So that orange line above the blue or whatever you want to call it. So essentially there's more of an underlying bearish tone, and plus it is relatively high. So that is considered somewhat overbought as well. So I think in general, it does need to consolidate, and that's been happening over the last couple of days. So we'll just have to wait and see. In the past, when stochastic, or at least the stock does run up, it can stay overbought for a good week, 2 weeks, dependent on what is kind of driving it. And so right now I feel like the market does want to propel just higher. Whether Polestar does get back to the $2 plus range, I don't know if that is in the cards just yet, because there is a lot of resistance levels above that. But again, with their earnings coming right around the corner, that could be the X factor to really propel Polestar higher, and through that, maybe even a short squeeze, but that might be kind of premature to talk on. So don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Give yourself a shout out. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with Polestar? And one final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for an account with 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗏, throw $100 ad, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.